During the Battle of Umbara, we get to see a tragic and disturbing side to the Clone Wars with the sacrifices of the 501st and the dark betrayal of the fallen Jedi Pong Krell. But what happened to the shadowy planet of Umbara after the battle and the end of the Clone Wars? I'm going to break down exactly what happened on Umbara after the Clone Wars and Order 66, including the tragic story of how one man destroyed the lives of the Umbaran people. So before we get into it, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below for more awesome Star Wars lore content. The trailer for The Mandalorian Season 2 is also dropping tomorrow, so make sure you tune in for that monumental event. After the Republic's decisive victory over the Separatist alliance at the Battle of Umbara, thanks to the actions of Captain Rex and the other clones, the planet was placed firmly under Republic control and under permanent protection from further threats. Umbara remained a member of the Republic right until it eventually fell after the events of Order 66. Once the Republic had fallen and the Empire was created by Darth Sidious, Umbara became an independent system free from the tight grip of Imperial control, at least for now. Shortly after becoming an independent system, Umbara became a major exporter of the ultra-rare material known as Dunium. Dunium was one of the hardest known substances in the galaxy, making it the perfect material for use in the construction of a super laser reactor. Of course, that super laser became known as the DS-1 Orbital Battle Station, or the Death Star. The citizens of Umbara had absolutely no idea that the mines on their independent home planet were being used to funnel resources to the Empire's Death Star project, but the people selling the Dunium didn't know this disturbing fact either. The salesmen of this tough substance simply believed that the Empire was using the ultra-tough material for the construction of their ever-growing Star Destroyer fleet. After many years of freedom and independence from the cruel reign of the Empire on Umbara, things were about to change when one young human rebel named Neville Signy became absolutely disgusted with the horrific treatment of people throughout the galaxy. Signy decided that he was going to begin his own small-scale rebellion against the Empire, obtaining the funding for the project through stealing the Dunium and Iridium from the mines of Umbara, stripping the planet down to bare rocks and pebbles, potentially destroying the ecosystem of the Dark Planet completely. Let me know in the comments down below if you think it was wrong for this one man to completely destroy another species' planet in order to fight the Empire. It's a tough one because he was ultimately fighting for their freedom too, but he is destroying their lives and homes in the process, so let me know how you feel about his actions. Neville Signy began to form his new rebel group and took on the codename Night Swan to conceal his identity from his intelligence contacts and Imperial attention. Night Swan then recruited as many people who held a deep hatred for the Empire as he could and began a smuggling operation on Umbara where he would steal Dunium, Tibanna, and Iridium from the local Umbaran mining facilities in order to sell them on the black market and raise funds for his small-scale rebellion there. Despite Night Swan getting off to a good start with his smuggling operation, he eventually found it far too difficult to bribe the native Umbarans working in the mines on the planet. The Umbarans were very concerned that their planet was being destroyed by this one man's rebel operation, and therefore made it extremely difficult for him to smuggle the precious materials off-world. Because of this, Night Swan decided that he would have to stage an uprising on Umbara, hoping to overthrow the rightful Umbaran government and giving control of the planet to Darth Sidious and the Empire. He thought it would be much easier to bribe Imperial mining officers than the Umbarans because they had no personal attachment to the resources on the planet and were often overworked and underpaid. As you can expect, this plan to install an Imperial government on the planet was not going to be easy. Night Swan believed that if the Imperials took control of the mining facilities on the planet, he would easily be able to steal enough resources to fund his entire rebellion for many years to come, and later get back at the Empire with his newly funded ships and weaponry. Although this man had good intentions, you can definitely see that his actions are morally questionable, pretty similar to Saw Gerrera if you think about it. As Night Swan's rebellious uprising began to swing into motion, his team installed a ground-based radio transmitter on the outermost moon of Umbara to aid in the uprising and to control some Separatist battle droids that he was about to purchase. Night Swan also had incredibly deep ties to the Coruscant underworld and criminal syndicates of other planets because of his past as a scoundrel pirate, allowing him to purchase 400 former Separatist Vulture droids on the black market. It's honestly always so cool to see Separatist technology making a return in the Imperial era. Night Swan planned to use these 400 Vulture droids as part of the uprising to overwhelm Imperial air support forces but lure them onto the surface. As this uprising began to take hold on the shadowy world of Umbara, Emperor Palpatine dispatched an Imperial task force led by an admiral known as Karlu Gendling to suppress the uprising and send a message to the galaxy that rebellion will not be tolerated. Gendling moved his Star Destroyer called the Foremost to Umbara along with 2 Raider-class corvettes and the Imperial light cruiser called the Thunder Wasp, which was commanded by Commander Alfred Cheno. Cheno. How cool is that name for a ship? One of the men that Cheno commanded aboard the Thunder Wasp was everyone's favorite blue chiss, Thrawn. As the Imperial forces amassed in the dusty orbit of Umbara, Admiral Gendling hoped to simply use his forces as a show of strength to intimidate the Umbaran rebels before taking any further action. His fleet, however, was met by the Vulture droids that were purchased earlier on the black market by Swan. The Vulture droids viciously attacked the Imperial ships, shredding their hulls and blasting their plating to pieces, beginning what later became known as the Second Battle of Umbara. While the Vulture droids swarmed the Imperial Task Force fleet, Commander Cheno ordered the gunners on the Thunder Wasp to intercept and destroy the enemy droids, which were currently targeting the foremost. Thrawn's good friend, Eli Vanto, was then quickly able to analyze the attack patterns of the Vulture droids, where he detected that they were receiving their commands from the outermost moon of Umbara. The clever and cunning Thrawn was then able to deduce that the Vulture droids had not actually been sent by the Umbarans on the surface of the planet, but instead by the insurgent rebel Swan. Eventually, the Imperial Task Force fleet was severely overwhelmed by the Vulture droids, causing Thrawn, Vanto, and Commander Cheno to take control of the Chief Sensor Officer's station and analyze the attacks for themselves. After carefully examining the precise attack patterns on the Vulture droids once again, Thrawn was able to pinpoint the exact location on the Umbaran moon where the Vulture droids were receiving their commands from. Having finally detected the location of the Vulture droid command signal, Thrawn convinced Commander Cheno to inform Admiral Gendling aboard the foremost to take action against it, but the Admiral was very unwilling to take risks and ignored Thrawn's warnings. Because the Admiral was unwilling to destroy the transmitter responsible for directing the Vulture droids, Thrawn devised an incredibly smart and cunning plan. He ordered the comms officer aboard his ship to contact all of the other ships in the Imperial fleet and told them to target specific locations in the Umbaran system where Vulture droids did not have direct communication to the transmission beacon and instead had to rely on their own inbuilt programming. He made this tactical move to target these communication dark spots without the authorization of his Admiral. Using these gaps in communication range to target the Vulture droids, Thrawn was able to destroy every single Vulture droid, turning the tide of the battle in the favor of the Empire. At this point, the Umbarans knew they had no chance of defeating the Imperial fleet above and handed over their unconditional surrender to the Imperial Admiral, leaving the dark planet of Umbara to fall into the tight grip of the Empire. Swan's plan had worked. He successfully baited the Empire into invading an innocent planet full of families who simply wanted to work hard and maintain their technological hub just so that he could more easily steal their mining resources. The Empire then immediately began to dispatch squads of stormtroopers to supervise the surrender of the Umbaran insurgents and to take control of the cities of Umbara. The Imperials did however lose one Raider-class corvette in the battle, and their larger ships, the Thunder Wasp and the Foremost, also sustained considerable damage. For this reason, Admiral Gendling was incredibly angry at the Umbarans and wanted to make them pay for their significant treason against the Empire. You can guess how the Imperial governor of the planet treated the citizens after that. Although Thrawn and Cheno's tactic did succeed in defeating Swan's resistance, Admiral Gendling was furious that they went behind his back and took part in strategic actions without his approval. Following the aftermath of the battle, Thrawn's friend Vanto travelled to the outermost moon of Umbara and investigated the ground transmitter that was powering the Vulture droids. Once he arrived on the distant moon, he discovered that the station was not actually being operated by Umbarans, but instead by Swan's human rebels. When Vanto reported this to Thrawn, the whole Second Battle of Umbara was actually based on a lie. Swan instigated the whole Battle of Umbara because he thought it would be easier to bribe the new Imperial mining staff after the invasion. Swan disgracefully subjected the citizens of Umbara to a horrible surrender agreement and horrendous living conditions in order to further his own rebel cause without any regard for the safety or well-being of the Umbarans. So that is the tragic fate of Umbara after the Clone Wars and Order 66. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below for more awesome Star Wars lore content, including the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer, which should be dropping tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.